Everybody, Joe and Zack, your local Pittsburgh realtors, here to talk to you today about homes that are sometimes listed as is, and what that means for sellers, what that means for buyers. So typically, what that means from a realtor standpoint is you get a call, somebody says, I want to list my house. It might be an estate or something like that, and they'll say, can you come out and take a look at things? And not always an estate. Sometimes it's just a regular sale, and they'll say, are there things we can do to the house to give it a better curb appeal, to make it look better, show better, that kind of thing. Typically those are going to be things like painting, maybe new carpet, refinish a hardwood floor, add some mulch, trim some bushes, things like that. Low cost items that are going to improve the curb appeal and the just aesthetic value of the house and make people more excited about it. Obviously decluttering, making the house look like you don't live there by, getting all the extra newspapers and magazines and books and things like that out of the way and packing those up in preparation for move. But as I said, sometimes it's an estate, and there's a fiduciary duty. Money is being split among family members, and they're trying to not spend a whole lot of money, but also sell the house and pay off any debts they have, and give a return to whoever the beneficiaries are. So they will often ask us, is there anything I should do to this house to make it attractive to sell? Sometimes that answer is no. Sometimes it's sell it as is. And sometimes it is, if you spend $500 to do these two or three things, you'll probably get $2,000, $3,000 back in sale price. So those are worthwhile things to spend money on. If you're going to spend $1,000 but only get $1,000 back, maybe as is the way to go as a seller. From a buyer's standpoint, when you're looking at as is houses, they're often, as I said, an estate sale. They could be
they need a little work.
Yeah, they need work,
lightly.
But they could be a foreclosure, they could be a short sale, they could be a rental property that somebody hasn't really taken great care of, kind of managed its decline to a certain degree, and they're just saying, look, I want to be done with this, a divorce, those kind of things. So as a buyer going into those, you want to be aware that as is usually means it may not need tremendous amounts of work, but it's going to need some work. So if you want a move-in ready house, as is probably not going to be the right fit for you as a buyer.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes owners are out of state, absentee owners that they just don't want to be bothered by any repairs, so it may not need a whole lot or anything. They're just, they live states away, and it's more of an investment for them, and they're not into the hands-on aspect of things. So it's as is for that reason. It doesn't always mean it's, run down and needs a whole new everything.
Correct. It may not be a bad house just because it's as is, but just as the saying goes, buyer beware. You want to be a little more careful. It also doesn't mean you can't do an inspection. They may say you can do an inspection, but it's only for information purposes. If you do an inspection and you find something that's really undesirable, a foundation issue or a bad roof or something like that, even though it as is, you can always say to the seller, look, I don't want to terminate and walk away from this. Would you be willing to do, I know it's as is, but would you be willing to do this repair or credit? So I wouldn't suggest that going into it as, hey, if you're buying an as is house, don't worry, you could negotiate on some repairs. I wouldn't count on that, but it's not out of the realm of possibility. If something completely unknown would come up during your inspection that you could, the seller wants to sell and the buyer wants to buy, you want to work out an agreement that
would probably be something that the seller was unaware of.
Correct.
The seller would probably not be willing to fix anything that they had already known about. That's why they listed it as is.
If you have a garage that has a terrible roof and there's a hole in it, and then you say, hey, we've discovered this during the inspection, they're going to say, no, that was well known beforehand.
Yeah.
We're talking about an unknown electrical, plumbing, safety issue of some sort. Or something maybe that came up during a borough inspection, like an occupancy inspection, that's required for the sale.
Dye test. Yeah.
Right. But you want to definitely, as a buyer, be careful. You also, as a seller, it's a really good tool to use for sellers and buyers in some situations, I guess. Long story short, and there's different things to be aware of. As always with these videos, there's a lot more to it in depth than that. If you have questions about this kind of thing or those kind of properties, give us a call, text, email. We're happy to discuss it in more detail.
Thanks.